everybody. I'm Ron Graham, Minister Ron, coming to you today with the Christian Power Hour. I wanted to talk a little bit today about the oh so doozy of a conversation that obviously you guys can see on the screen in front of you. And, I get it. This is a very difficult conversation to have. In some instances, this may even be what we call taboo. When you have African American leadership, the word is, don't talk about it, don't speak negatively, don't do anything to bring down the shine of someone, in the African American community for obvious reasons. I mean, we know all of the things and that have happened in the past, and a lot of stuff is always being examined and closely examined. But again, I wanted to talk about this particular conversation for two reasons, guys. Not one, but two reasons, because it speaks to the two elephants in the room, and we'll address it. The first obvious elephant in the room is a person of color in a leadership position. Okay. And the second elephant in the room is a person in the Christian community in a leadership position. So we're going to look at those two aspects as we dive in a little bit with the conversation going on here live with Mayor Adams.
You hurt our school. Our streets are dirty. Our children are harassed by the police. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You can shush me all you want, but the people are with us. And this is not a black day. This is a justice day.
First of all, I want to thank you for being here this morning. And I want to thank the supporters of all ethnic groups that are here, particularly the men and women of the clergy that's here, that have joined me here today. And we are not surprised. We expected this. This is not surprising to us at all. The actions that have unfolded over the last 10 months, the leaks, the commentary, the demonizing, this did not surprise us that we reached this day. And I ask New Yorkers to wait to hear our defense before making any judgments. In about 30 minutes, you're going to hear a story of the case that is in front of us. This story will come from the federal prosecutors. And I ask to wait and hear our side to this narrative. From here, my attorneys will take care of the case so I can take care of the city. My day-to-day will not change. I will continue to do the job for 8.3 million New Yorkers that I was elected to do. Amen. And the 300,000 plus employees of our city government will continue to do their jobs, because this is what we do as New Yorkers. It's an unfortunate day, and it's a painful day. But inside of all of that, it's a day when we will finally reveal why for 10 months I have gone through this. And I look forward to defending myself and defending the people of this city as I've done throughout my entire professional career.
That's right.
I want to now turn it over to the person who started me on this journey, Reverend Herbert Daughtry.
Amen. Amen.
So let me give you a little bit of a backdrop about what's going on right now. So again, this is not by accident that Mayor Adams does not have a stage full of heavy hitters. And when I talk about heavy hitters, I'm talking about heavy hitters in the civil rights community. Reverend Herbert Daughtry, the people's pastor, as he's called. This man has a track record of excellence, historical excellence in the African American community. His church, House of the Lord Church, the House of the Lord Church in Brooklyn, has been a staple in the African American community for decades. His close work with obviously the likes of Nelson Mandela. He's also mentored Tupac Shakur and his mom, and a lot of big time heavy hitters in the African American community over the decades. So again, this is not an accident that the mayor has these type of individuals um, up on the stage. And so it really breaks my heart because, again, the fact that some of these people um, have literally given their lives in support to this man on this stage. But let's hear the gentleman out. Let's hear what he has to say in regards to Eric Adams.
Amen. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You are our mayor, and will be to time come, still will be our mayor to all the supporters. Irrespective of what people say, he's still our mayor.
Amen.
As he has indicated, we started on a journey a long time ago. I encouraged him to join the police department. He did, and you know the rest of the story. So, you know, Mr. Mayor, Eric, it's one more battle we have to fight.
That's right.
There's one more battle we have to fight. And we're not about to quit. We're not about to give up. We'll be there. We'll be there to the end. God bless you. God be with you. We're going to win this fight.
And two, let me get an umbrella, put it on the device so the water won't get inside there, Robbie. Hold on one moment. Hold on. You know we don't do this calling out stuff at my press conferences. When we finish speaking, we will respond to a few questions. We just want to cover that. Are you good, Robbie? I affectionately call her Mother Dukes. Has been a head of the NAACP and just a leader that has mentored me throughout my entire journey. I want to now come call up Mother Hazel Dukes.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Hazel Dukes. I live in Harlem. I'm 90. Would you be quiet? Would you shut up? I'm 92 years of age.
Yes.
I've known this young man for over 40 years. I come with a heavy heart today, but my head is not unbowed.
All right.
He's going to have his day in court, and we're going to stand by him. We came this morning to pray for him, because prayer changed things. I am asking all New Yorkers to hear his side, to let him have a day in court. Let him have his day in court, and then we can make our decisions. But we are not here today to criticize the federal government where you might be, but shush. That's all you do. That's all you brought here to criticize. Yeah. We are going to be here. We're going to be here.
I'm sorry, Mother Duke. Hey, brother, this is a 92-year-old elder. Show us some respect. A 92-year-old elder.
She stands next to you. She stands next to Carlo. As the NAACP,
Go
as the
ahead, Mother
501c3, you should not be standing for a political candidate. Stop that.
This gentleman says something very interesting, and I want to set the record straight on a couple of things. The first thing I want to talk about again, and I reiterate this, we're talking about two things here: stage full of powerhouses in the affluent African American community, and the fact that Eric Adams has literally stepped in the hand. Remember the hand? We used to have the kid, step in the hand and you push him over the wall. So he steps in the hand and pushes off the back of these primary two people on the stage right there, uh, Mr. Reverend Doherty and, of course, Hazel Dukes. And he elevates himself. And the first thing that we want to talk about is the gentleman that's heckling in the crowd is making some critical heckling statements. The first thing he's saying is that you've endorsed certain political candidates, right? And so, just to give you a little backdrop on Miss Hazel Dukes, who I've had the privilege of meeting and working for many moons ago, as I used to serve in the Harlem State Building, actually under her chapter in the NAACP. Did that for a few years, and I learned that she's very, very influential. She commands a room. She doesn't back down for anybody. But at the same time, just like this gentleman is saying, the NAACP and organizations like that are 501(c)s. They're technically not supposed to be literally endorsing any type of political candidate. Now, while they can work with different candidates to get initiatives passed, it's known that Ms. Hazel Dukes has burnt some bridges in the political landscape. Even members amongst the NAACP have had issues and concerns with some of the candidates that she endorsed. So let's keep it 100%. It's never been a smooth ride either way you look at it. Another thing is that, make no mistake, she doesn't come without her own little legal baggage. I think we all know the story, as I have up on the screen, in 1997. You can clearly see here that Ms. Dukes had taken advantage of a situation. I don't, again, whether it was intentional or unintentional, as she later on went on to say that this was someone she had helped and did so much for. But there was a $13,000 amount of money that was taken from a woman who was fighting for her life with leukemia. And again, the controversy that led for her to have to pay retribution. She barely dodged prison time. And she did some things that maybe you look back on and you say she probably should have done, which brings me to my point with Mayor Eric Adams. With these type of people, and you can see at their age and everything that they've done to get you where you want to go, do you really think it's wise? Now, we're not here to accuse you of anything because we don't have any evidence of anything, at least not yet. You haven't had your day in court. So there's under no circumstances is Minister Ron accusing Eric Adams of anything. But what I will say is that, are there enough situations that you, as a man of wisdom, obviously in your mid 60s, so you've been around the block a little bit, you've obviously been in the police force, you've done police work, that was your bread and butter for a while, and then you go into the political arena. So wouldn't you not do things that would avoid those types of misconceptions? Would you not avoid things that have the appearance that they could be a little suspect, could be a little shady? When you kind of stay away from that type of stuff, knowing that it could have the potential to give you a bad look, especially with these type of people that's behind you. And so when the heckler says, hey, if you supporting these guys like Cuomo and all these people who, as we know, have been found guilty of a lot of things. And listen, I get it. No one is perfect. Again, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that Eric Adams is a Christian. I believe that wholeheartedly. But at the end of the day, when you think about your Christianity, and as you see here from the slide with Reverend Al Sharpton on your screen, you see that he gave his life again to the Lord in Rikers Island in front of, I think, 11 inmates. And he rededicated his life. Again, we're not here to pass judgment, right? So we know, even as a believer and as a Christian, there's a certain way you may want to carry yourself so you don't misrepresent the brand, right? The Jesus brand, the God brand, right? We don't want to misrep that. And so there's a lot of such situations and a lot of circumstances that even if we're perfectly innocent, we'll just avoid them. So again, Hazel Dukes is really trying to make the record stand, but there's some baggage there with her.
Always in favor. You are always in favor of the Catholic.
Go ahead, Mother Dukes.
Don't respond to them.
Go, Mother Dukes.
We are calling on all New Yorkers to listen carefully, not to the loudmouths, but listen to facts and figures. His lawyers will go and do our work for us, and we will stand with this mayor. Right.
Thank you.
You put the police on the people.
The,
You put the police on the people.
we want to now bring one of our amazing bishops up forward now. Bishop.
You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to black people. You're an embarrassment to black people. Resign.
So, I mean, you can't help but hear the heckle, right? He said, "You are an embarrassment to black people." And again, let me just set the record straight. My wife and I were on our way to a convention out in Tampa this past weekend. Prayers up to all those affected by Hurricane Helene. Thank God we weren't. But at the same time, we were on our way out there, and she listened in, and she made a statement that, let's be realistic. And I opened by saying this before we got started: the taboo that's so associated with the black community, especially in situations like this. And she said, you had Mayor Giuliani, and you had Mayor Dinkins, and she doesn't know all our New York City mayors. God bless her soul. She's from Baltimore, but she knows enough, Bloomberg and stuff like that. And she said, "You're telling me that this is the only guy that's ever done anything? Why are they picking on him? Why him? Why him? Is he the only one that's ever done anything wrong?" There's someone getting ready to get up there, and you'll see in a few minutes, and vouch for him, this woman, this bishop woman who's coming up there, and she's going to say something to that effect. But the thing is, we have a couple of violations here. Remember, we started with the two. The first one is the black community and how hard it is for people of color to get to certain elevations in their lives, certain elevated platforms that we work so hard for. Again, black excellence, and we all know, if you come from that certain generation, we know black excellence says that blacks have to be better than their Caucasian counterparts in sports, in medicine, in science, in mathematics, in carpentry, plumbing, electrician, trainmen, any career. We were brought up to say that we had to be better. We had to elevate, because the judgment on us is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 times more, than our Caucasian counterparts. His age bracket tells me that he came up in that same light, just like I did, just like most of my audience did. We're not talking about millennials, and Gen Zs or whatever these other gens are, who kind of like are cut out of a slightly different cloth, who've been, the bar has been kind of lowered for them because, they get what they call participation stars, right? Just for being there. See, we didn't get that. His generation, my generation, we didn't get that. We had to be better. We had to push ourselves to black excellence. So again, that conversation of what about everybody else? Stop. You can't go there with that. Stop. Can't do it. Not only that, but as a believer, right, when the world is going in one direction, believers are supposed to be going in another. When everybody in the world is approving of something, believers are supposed to be against it. When everybody in the world is going up, believers are supposed to go down. When everybody in the world is going down, believers are supposed to go up. Remember, the light of the world, the salt of the earth. And while I'm not speaking about perfect, because there's no perfect being other than God himself, believers are in constant battle with their flesh. Constantly. That's why Paul said that I hate, that I do, that I hate. Oh, wretched man of sin that I am, right? It's a war. It's a battle going on, right? So again, I just wanted to make that clear. But let's listen to Miss Bishop and let's see what she has to say.
We are admonished to be angry and sin not. We can have our anger and we move forward. 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 None of us. None of us have ever done anything in our lives that we've asked forgiveness for and it was not granted. We live in a society where if we do something, there is a due process for all of us. There's a process that starts, it has a middle, and it has an end. And none of us has the right to preempt that process. If I have an accident, I have to report it to my insurance, and they fight it out, and then a verdict is announced. We cannot prejudge any situation in fear that we might prejudge it inappropriately. And the same justice that we want for ourselves, we want for our mayor. That's right. If I confess, I know there is a God that says he's faithful and just to forgive me of my sin and to cleanse me from everything that is unrighteous. Until the verdict is announced, we stand. We are not people who have a yellow strip down our back, and neither are we intimidated by loud voices. Whatever the truth is, the truth will prevail.
You know, the thing that really bothers me, I guess, about this whole point is the engagement again, because he's going where, you know, he knows. This is all he knows, right? As a believer, as a Christian believer, and also being ingrained in the African American community for as long as he's has. I mean, he's got these heavyweights up there on the stage. I mean, the smile on his face, though, I don't know how appropriate that is. It's not a smiling matter, and I get it. I understand. I'm not saying he's smiling facetiously, but again, I mean, these are people that's laying it on the line. I mean, you heard what this minister said. She's making it crystal clear, you know, how this matter should be conducted, which goes back to my original point. While not accusing you of any crime, would it be wise to put yourself in a situation where the appearance of criminal content or the appearance of illegal activity, right? It's just like, for example, you know, I grew up in a neighborhood where at a certain time of night, you know, the cats came out, you know, and them drug boys got out there, and at a certain time of night, that's it. They're out there pitching and doing what they do, you know, getting their hustle on. So, you know, I had an option. You know, I could stand out there on the block, you know, and hang out with them all night long. And even though I wasn't, you know, per se selling or doing anything illegal. Or I can say, you know what, time to fold them, man. Yo, gap you up. I'm out, right? And going upstairs, and as I go upstairs, and literally, I lie to you not, you hear the bop, bop, bop. Or I would hear doop, 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 you know? And I'd always just miss the action, right? Just miss it, right? So, I mean, I could have stayed out there. I could have been out there. But in my spirit, I said, you know what? I'm not really a part of that. You know what I mean? I don't really want to get into that. And I don't even want the police to have to try to determine whether or not I'm with these guys. Or, well, I knew a lot of them, so I guess you could say, hey, I was with them, I was hanging out with them, but I didn't even want to give the police that opportunity to try to have to figure out, well, are you here? Do you come in peace? Are you dealing? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? So as an intelligent young man at the time, I said, you know what? Let me just take my, as we used to say, my black you know what, and just go on upstairs. Leave it alone, Ron. And so the point I'm making is that this is why I'm a little bothered by this. This is a person who's been around long enough to know that maybe you should avoid certain situations so that you don't bring the smoke. Even if you're perfectly innocent, there's certain things you just don't do. Before we wrap up, I want to go through one more point.
That's all right. Good morning, my fellow New Yorkers. Good morning. My fellow New Yorkers, I wanted to let you know Mayor Eric Adams, whom you know for 62 years, who served you in the 80s and 90s when New York was facing the worst time in its history, is the same mayor that's standing right here, is the same mayor that will stand tomorrow, and is the same mayor that will be re-elected. 62 years will not be replaced by 5 indictments that will be fought and will be exonerated. Give him a chance. Give him a chance and hear his side of the story. We know him and we should give him a chance. Thank you and God bless you. Come on, my girl.
Do we know him? Is he the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow? No pun intended. We know who that is, right? Our God. Is he the same guy? Is he the same person he was? You see, that those are heavy words, man. I mean, you have the pulpit behind you. You have the civil rights organizations behind you. Can you imagine if this guy is dirty? The impact that this will have on the African American community, again, as we go down this slippery slope, as we continue to talk about what are the 2 violations as we bring this to a close. Again, Black excellence, the African American community that has to be better. He's from that generation. So he knows he has to be better. He knows that with that title comes a lot of heat, comes a lot of smoke. And this is why he was groomed to be in this position. You see, there's so many coincidences that are out there. Coincidence. I've heard some of his legal team say that, it's not a crime to, upgrade from business class to first class and things like that. But again, like we say, if it's a little too close, and let's face it, I'm in the sales industry. I remember, a few years ago, you can give away gift cards, you can, give away money and dinner and all types of stuff. You can't do that stuff. You can't do that stuff anymore. If somebody finds out that you're giving out gift cards and monetary things because you're writing, let's say, policies or health benefits or things like that, you can't do that. So this is not something new under the sun. Everybody in the industry knows you can't even give nothing over, I think, like what, $20, $25? So this is nothing new under the sun. Again, if it's that close to the line, wouldn't someone in his position know, let me just clear away from it? Listen, we're not talking about a couple of doozies here, a few slip-ups. We all make a couple of slip-ups, as the previous bishop so eloquently put it. We've all made some slip-ups. But when you look at this indictment, page after page after page of repeat offenses or allegations, rather. Are all those repeat allegations just coincidences? Through Turkey and then on to other places? Why through Turkey? You know, most of us that fly, we go wherever the plane tells us to go. Sometimes we may control where we want to fly into. You know, I got people that may want to come down and see me. Sometimes they may have to go into Miami because it's a great price, or they go into Fort Lauderdale, you know, or something like that, or Orlando or whatever. So that happens, but it's not going to happen every single time. And is it a coincidence that the building that the fire inspector said, no, it's not safe, we shouldn't do it? Is that a coincidence that this person was muscled into approving a building that just so happens to be the building for the Turkish consulate in New York City? So again, it's just a lot of coincidences. And again, like I said, I'm not here to indict, to accuse. I don't have no heaven or hell to put anybody in, that's for sure. You know, but at the end of the day, what I will say is you stay away. And then from a believer's perspective, you know, coming up through the church, coming up in the church and being a representative. As a matter of fact, if you see here on the screen, you'll see that he's actually openly professed his Christianity, even to the point where a lot of people were very uncomfortable about it, because a lot of, you know, political people stay politically correct, as they say, and they don't really talk about their faith in that way. You know, they kind of allude to their faith, but he's been very deliberate and intentional in his faith. So again, I think it's fair to say that there's a couple of violations that's going on here today. So I'm going to close out with this. I don't think it's anything else to touch on at the moment. I'll be closely following this situation, and if there's anything else breaks on it, I'll be the first one to share as it pertains. Again, the Christian Power Hour, we just look at the issues that affect the Christian community, and whether we want to accept it or not, we are the light of the world, and our lights are supposed to shine, absolutely shine amongst men and women. Minister Ron, the Christian Power Hour. I hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Until we meet again. Peace and God bless.